The heavy wooden door of the dressing room closes with a soft thud, muffling the shocked whispers of the wedding guests. The small space, once a sanctuary of pre-wedding jitters and excited preparations, now feels claustrophobic, charged with unspoken accusations and growing suspicion. Emma releases James's wrist, her fingers leaving faint marks on his skin. She takes a step back, her ivory gown rustling like agitated leaves. Her eyes, wide and searching, bore into James, silently demanding answers he's not sure he has. "James, what's going on? Who is she?" Emma's voice trembles, a mix of fear and frustration coloring her words. James runs a hand through his carefully styled hair, mussing it in a way that would have irritated him on any other day. Today, it's the least of his worries. His eyes dart around the room, as if searching for an escape from this impossible situation. I'm not sure," he stammers, the words feeling hollow even as he speaks them. "But I could ask you the same thing. You recognized her too, didn't you?" The space between them grows, filled with questions neither wants to ask and answers both fear to give. Emma turns away, her hands fidgeting with her engagement ring, twisting it around her finger as if it might somehow provide answers. "James, be honest with me," she says softly, her back still turned. "Is there something you're not telling me? Something from when we were apart?" The words hang in the air, heavy with implication. James's head snaps up, surprise etched across his features. He takes a step towards Emma, but stops short when he sees her tense. "From our long-distance year?" he asks, his voice a mixture of confusion and dawning dread. "Emma, I told you everything about that time." He pauses, uncertainty creeping into his tone. "Didn't I?" Emma turns back slowly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. She meets James's gaze, her chin lifted in a show of defiance that doesn't quite mask her vulnerability. "Did you? Because right now I'm not so sure." The air between them crackles with tension, thick enough to cut with a knife. James reaches out, his hand hovering in the space between them, not quite daring to bridge the gap. "Emma, look at me," he pleads, his voice low and urgent. "Whatever's happening, we're in this together. We've always been honest with each other, right?" As they stand there, eyes locked in a silent battle of wills, something shifts. It's as if fragments of long-buried memories are surfacing, playing across their faces like shadows in flickering candlelight. Emma's voice comes out distant, as if calling from the depths of the past. "I remember a cafe in Paris," she whispers, her gaze unfocused. "It was raining. I was alone, missing you. And then," she gasps, the impossibility of it hitting her anew. "No, that can't be right." James's words overlap hers, equally confused and disbelieving. "A hostel in Tokyo," he murmurs, shaking his head. "I couldn't sleep, went for a walk, and in the moonlight..." His voice trails off, disbelief etched in every line of his face. But how could she have been there? Their eyes meet, wide with shock and dawning comprehension. "You knew her too?" The words fall from their lips in perfect unison, a harmony of disbelief and growing fear. The implications hang heavy in the air, an impossible puzzle with pieces that refuse to fit. How could this woman have been in two places at once? And why had neither of them mentioned these encounters before? Emma takes a stumbling step forward, her hand reaching out to steady herself on the back of a chair. "But that's impossible," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. "She was in Paris. I met her at a cafe when we were apart." James shakes his head vigorously, his hands clenching and unclenching at his sides. No, he insists, though uncertainty clouds his eyes. "I met her in Tokyo. We talked all night about..." His voice trails off, realization dawning. "About life and love and the future?" Emma finishes, her words a mix of question and dreaded certainty. James nods slowly, his face a mask of confusion and dawning comprehension. "Yes," he breathes. "Exactly that." The space between them suddenly feels both vast and non-existent. Emma's voice shakes as she asks the question that could shatter everything. James, what's going on? Who is she really? In 2 quick strides, James closes the gap between them. He pulls Emma close, their wedding finery rustling as they embrace. I don't know, love, he murmurs into her hair, but we're going to find out. Together. As they hold each other, both are lost in their own thoughts, each wondering what secrets the other might still be keeping. The perfect day they had planned now feels like a distant dream, replaced by a mystery that threatens to unravel the very fabric of their relationship. A sharp knock at the door shatters the moment. James? Emma? Is everything all right in there? The best man's muffled voice carries notes of concern and confusion. The couple jumps at the sudden interruption, pulling apart slightly but keeping their hands linked. Reality comes crashing back. There's still a church full of guests, a wedding to salvage or postpone, and an enigmatic woman waiting for... What? Just a minute, James calls out, his voice steadier than he feels. He turns to Emma, his eyes searching hers. What do we do now? She whispers, the question encompassing so much more than just the immediate future. James takes a deep breath, his chest rising and falling as he steels himself for what's to come. We face this, he says, with quiet determination. Whatever it is, we face it together. Emma nods, reaching up to straighten her veil with trembling fingers. James adjusts his tie, a muscle working in his jaw. In silent agreement, they move towards the door, pausing just before opening it. Wait, Emma says suddenly. The guests. We can't let this turn into more of a spectacle than it already is. James nods, a wry smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Well, it certainly is a surprise, he quips, a fleeting moment of humor in the midst of chaos. With whispered plans and meaningful glances, they prepare to re-enter the fray. As Emma's hand hovers over the doorknob, they share one last look. In that gaze is a universe of questions, a lifetime of trust being put to the test, and the faintest glimmer of hope that their love will weather this storm. They step out, hand in hand, ready to face the mysterious Sophia and the revelations she brings. But to understand the true weight of this moment, we must first journey back to a rain-soaked Parisian cafe where lonely hearts found solace. Back to a moonlit Tokyo street where secrets were shared under starry skies. 2 chance encounters that were anything but chance. The story of Emma, James, and the enigmatic Sophia is about to unfold, and nothing will ever be the same.